From the floor of the CME Group, this is Danny Riley with today's CMZ Mr. Topstep update from the S&P in the Chicago Board of Trade grain room here, CME Group. You know what we want to talk a little bit about is what the S&P has been doing over the last couple of days. All week long, the S&P has held this 39.25 level to 13.44 even level, and today the S&P opened up right at that level and then rallied up all day. Now, what we want to talk about a little bit is what happened here and why that happened. And you're not going to get that on the Wall Street Journal, and you're not going to get that at CNBC. What happened here is everybody sold the S&P last night when all that news about JP Morgan and their losses came out, and they sold those futures in the hole. They sold them at very low prices, and this morning we opened up above those prices, and what we know is that the retail cannot hold those S&P futures over the weekend, and as the market started to grind higher, the algorithms and the program traders started to pick off those buy stops on the upside. Now the S&P just traded all the way up to 1361, and we backed off a little bit, but we're moving back up again. Now we also want to talk about one other thing, or two other things. One, we have a trading rule, and it's called Counter Trend Friday, and that's exactly what I just explained. The S&P opens lower with volume of over 400,000 minis. The retail crowd has to put in stops, and the market gravitates higher. But we also want to talk about another rule, and that's a Marty Schwartz Pitbull rule, that we always look for a low the Thursday or Friday the week before expiration, thus this big rally that we're seeing today. You know, we're going to close it out on that note. The markets are still very subject to all this headline stuff coming out of Europe, Greece, Spain, and now JP Morgan, but that said, they still seem to be holding in here. And last thing we want to say is we do think that the markets have a potential to go up here, but we also want to point out that the May expiration statistically is not that strong. And one last thing, we also want to remind everybody that tomorrow, MrTopstep.com, www.MrTopstep.com, is having a 9:30 Central Time webinar. It features Mark Nichols from Trade Zones. Mark's got a great way about the markets, and we suggest you join in. And we also want to thank the guys at CMZ for letting us come on today. Thank you very much, and have a good weekend.